Hi BookTube. Let's chat.
Don't you wanna have fun? Fool around someone.
I don't know if you're new to my channel, but if you are, hi, my name's Tamika. This is my channel where I talk to you about all the bookish things going on in my life. You know, I really thought I left that intro back with my old channel name, but I guess not. Today I am going to be, you know, just telling you about all the books that I've decided I no longer want on my bookshelves. I literally just got this urge. I sat down and I said, you know what? I don't want these anymore. So my bookshelves are destroyed. They are absolute chaos. And I have slowly hit a point where I'm like, I don't think I want to own books anymore. Not necessarily I don't want to own books at all. I just don't want to I don't want to own all these books. I feel like I just want like 2 shelves of books. Which I tend to say a lot, but I've hit the point now where I'm like, okay, I kind of know what I would do with a 3rd shelf. I know what I would do with my other one if I decided to, you know, part ways with most of my books. I figured it out. So we're gonna unhaul these. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put a disclaimer out here that if you want any of these books, I am selling them all on Pango Books. So I'll leave my link down in the description. If you want to check them out, you want to like grab any of them, they will be on there. So first come, first serve. If I put them on there and you don't see them, then, you know, I'm sorry, they've probably already sold, but I will be putting all of these books, all of them, on Pango Books. Plus I have some already listed, and I'm also selling the majority of my historical romances. So yeah, I have a lot of books that are going to be on Pango Books. I'm gonna start with something that's a little controversial. I'm getting rid of my Black Dagger Brotherhood books. No reason. I literally have no reason other than I don't need all my Black Dagger Brotherhood books. I do have the mass market still. I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna get rid of those, but at this point in time, I am getting rid of my 2 hardcovers and this UK paperback. I don't want to lug it around. I don't know what else to say. I just don't want to lug them around. I don't feel like they really add that much joy to my shelves. I want to completely redo my shelves. These really just don't work anywhere. I don't really want them. I've struggled to get through the last book, or the 6th book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. So I'm just gonna part ways with them. I'm never gonna read these physically anyway, and I don't love this series enough to own multiple editions of it. If I decide that I want to own the series, I'm just getting the mass market. So that's why I'm kind of not parting with those yet, but I don't need 15 million copies of the series. I'm also gonna go ahead and part with Landline by Rainbow Rowell. I have heard a lot of bad things about Rainbow Rowell, specifically that she has racist commentary in her books. This was one of my favorite books at one time, but I'm just not gonna keep this on my shelf anymore. I don't want to own it. It served its purpose in my life, and now I'm going to part with it. Another one that served its purpose in my life is Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. This book gets recommended to me all the time. I've read this book. I loved this book. This was one of my favorite books. It is very taboo. It is a dark contemporary. It is not a dark romance because these 2 characters do not get happily ever after, and this is incest. This is literally about a brother and a sister who develop a relationship, and I do recommend this book. I love this book. I love this concept, but I've just hit the point where I know that if I were to go back and reread this, I'm not gonna read it physically, and it's like bringing no joy to my life to like have it, if that makes sense. It served its purpose for me when I was a teenager and I read this, so I'm going to pass this along to someone else who would actually have some use for reading it and who would want it. So I am gonna sell this. This is one of my favorite books ever, but I just don't want to hold on to it. Like, that's really where I'm getting at with a lot of this, is I just don't want to hold on to these books anymore because I have so many other things that I would rather have, and these books are just not the things I'd rather have right now. Some more YA books that I need to get off my shelves. I have The Nightmare Affair. This is by Mindy Arnett. I actually met Mindy Arnett, so whoever gets this is gonna have like a signed copy with my name in it. So if you like Mindy Arnett, I hope you enjoy this book. I hope you are excited to get it. I really loved this. This was about literally a girl who was a nightmare. It was like classic paranormal YA romance, and it was fantastic. And I'm just gonna go ahead and pass it along to some YA reader that would love it now. We have 13 Reasons Why. I did read this when it came out when I was in middle school. And once again, I just don't need it. I just don't need it. I'm never gonna reread it because I've already read it twice. I read it physically and I also read the audiobook, and I don't plan on reading this again, and I want to pass this along to a kid who really wants to read it. So again, I'm gonna put it on my shop. Here's something y'all probably never thought you'd see. I'm selling 3 of my manga. I'm actually going to be selling volumes 1 through 3 of My Dress Up Darling. Listen, I really love My Dress Up Darling. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a fantastic series and it is a lot of fun. I'm just not drawn to pick it back up. I feel like I leave this series every time with a, that was really fun, I really liked that, but never a drive to go back to it. So I'm gonna part with it. I'm going to go ahead and list this for sale as well, because I think someone else would really like this and I'm just not the person for it. Like I said, I'm enjoying it when I'm reading it, but the wanting to come back to it, I'm just not that invested, so I'm gonna part with these. I feel like this was me just going through and getting rid of all my YA books, but I also have The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. This is one of the few YA books that I still own. I loved this when I read this. This was fantastic. It's a paranormal vampire romance. It's a standalone. I had a fun time with this. I really, really liked it. I'm just ready to pass this along to another reader who it's going to be better for. I'm never going to reread it. I don't feel like I should be hoarding it. I'm going to finally part with my copy of Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. This is signed and I really loved the commentary in this about OCD and how people get in thought spirals, because I really related to that. This is about a girl who has compulsive OCD, so she has the compulsive thoughts, and I really liked the concept of this one. It wasn't my favorite, no, but I really loved the commentary on this because I really related to the thought spirals and that kind of aspect. So I just want someone else to be able to experience this for what it is, and I don't need it. Another book that I really loved was The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. This is a book about a serial killer. I think that a younger version of me would love this, and I specifically know a younger version of me who would love this, so I might actually not sell this one. I might just give it to her. This is gonna go to a good home. I know that by parting with these, the books are getting good homes. I know they are, so I'm really content with that. Yakuza Lover. I couldn't get invested in this, so I'm gonna go ahead and just say no. I'm getting rid of these classics. These are the Grimm Brothers Fairy Tales, 101 and 110 stories. This is the Word Cloud editions. These are really cool. I love these. They do me no good. I don't read classics. They do me no good on my shelves. I'm gonna part with The Next Person You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. I loved The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, but I'm never gonna read this. I think I was holding on to some idea that I might eventually read that, but I know that I won't. I have Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Again, a story I love. I'm just never gonna go back to it. I'm never gonna read it physically. Do you see this font? Do you see that? My size 14 font, reading that? Absolutely not. 2 very popular books by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have Maybe in Another Life and Forever Interrupted. This one I have read. I did read it physically. This one I've never read. I still want to read it. I just won't do it physically. Controversial. I'm unhauling my Christina Lauren books. I have a lot of them. I have My Favorite Half Night Stand, Beautiful Secret, The Unhoneymooners, Love in Other Words, Beautiful Boss, and Beautiful Bombshell. I also have a stack of thrillers and some horror that I don't know a ton about these, but I'm gonna part with them. We have The Lost Sister. I don't know what this is. It's a detective story, a gripping serial killer thriller. I don't know. It sounds interesting, but you know, it's not something that I would just typically read physically. If I'm gonna read it, it's probably gonna be an audiobook. We also have Station 11, which I do really want to read this, and this paperback is fantastic. It's very floppy, and you know, the kind of person that I was before an e-reader came along would have loved this, but I just don't read physically anymore. So Emma and the Night, another thriller that I've heard great things about. Again, I'm not gonna read it physically. If I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna read it digitally. We also have The Wife Between Us, which I do love this story, and I held on to it for a long time because I was like, no, I want to own this, I want to have it. I just no longer feel the need to do that with the thrillers, because if I want to read it again, I know where to find it. No Exit by Taylor Adams. I own the audiobook, so again, if I want to reread this, I'm going to use the audiobook because I did not enjoy the reading experience on that one. We have The Hex. Again, I have no idea what this is about. This is a horror book though, I think. And I want to say there's like a journalist involved, but I literally have no idea. I'm gonna part with it. I have 2 Karen Slaughter books. One of these are signed. The Good Daughter here is actually signed by Karen Slaughter. I don't know anything about these, but I do know that she's very popular and she writes very gruesome, dark thrillers. And again, I do want to read her. Okay, I have a couple more YA books I need to talk about. I have The Ballads of Songbirds and Snake, one of my favorite series in the whole world. I just don't care. I Have Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, which was one of my favorite contemporaries when I was younger. I just feel like this would be better in a different home. I think that someone else will enjoy this more than I did. We have some more romances. We have Bee Tree by Emily Henry, which I think this is actually not a romance and it deals heavily with grief. I have Head Over Heels, which is like a Olympics kind of story. I don't know, but I was told it was not 100% a romance and that it was more of a women's fiction, so I'm not interested. We have Losing It by Kara McCormick. I loved this story when I read it. I don't want it anymore. I have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I just don't want it. I've not read the book. If I want to read it, I'm going to listen to the audiobook. And then I have The Marriage Bargain, which I did really enjoy. I just don't want it now. And then the most controversial of this entire haul, I'm getting rid of all of these Stephen King books. Because, I don't want them anymore. So, yeah. Let me tell you about them real quick. We've got Dreamcatcher. I don't want to read about the shit weasels. I have Sleeping Beauties. I've heard it's boring and I just don't care. We have The Green Mile. This is the UK edition. I don't like The Green Mile. We have Elevation. I don't like Elevation. Hearts in Atlantis. I just have no interest in reading this, so I'm gonna list it for sale. From a Buick 8. I don't even know if this one's a short story collection or what. The Gunslinger. I don't like fantasy, so. The Wind Through the Keyhole. I stand by, I don't like fantasy. The Eyes of the Dragon. I don't want to read the fantasy. I feel like I should just held all of those up at once and that should have been my reasoning. We have Bag of Bones by Stephen King. I know nothing about that one. And last but not least, one that might shock everyone, 11/22/63. I like how I said that as this is a historical, and you all know that I do not like historical unless it's a very specific circumstance. Yeah, I'm getting rid of all my Stephen King. I'm just kidding, it's not all my Stephen King, but I'm getting rid of a good chunk of my Stephen King. So yeah. Those are all the books that I wanted to get rid of. Leave me a trash can emoji down in the comments if you're still here. And if you want any of these books, go follow me on Pango Books. I will be listing them there. So chat with you in the next one. Bye everyone.
Don't you wanna have fun? Don't you wanna have some fun?
Yeah, his baby said that they don't got a future like